Hello, everyone, and welcome to this RMS Support Center Release Brown Bag training. Today, we will be reviewing the updates and fixes made in the upcoming patch release. The patch number is targeted to be 533, but that does have the potential to change. This patch is targeted to be released on March 31st, which will be this upcoming Monday afternoon. If you experience any issues downloading the new patch, please don't hesitate to contact the help desk. There is a link to our ticketing system in Jira and a phone number that you can call listed on the references slide within this presentation. The slides for this presentation can be found on our website, rms.usace.army.mil. That link can also be found on the references slide, along with a few other resources linked there as well. These slides will be updated to include any Q&A that occurs during this webinar, and this presentation is also being recorded, so this video will be posted on our YouTube channel. That should be posted within about 5 business days following our presentation today, so keep an eye out for that if you'd like to revisit it. That video will also be made available on both our YouTube channel as well as listed on the RMS website. If you have any questions regarding anything we covered today, please type that question into the Q&A section of this WebEx. We do have some RMS Support Center folks on standby, ready to take care of those as they come in. We'll also open up the floor for discussion at the end of the presentation, so if you'd like to just wait until the end and unmute to ask your question, you will have the opportunity to do that as well. So let's get started. Here are our topics for today's training. We will review an update to Word templates in the district library and also an update to summary reports, both at the district level. Then we'll look at updates made to several areas under administration. After that, we have some updates and fixes to look at in finances. And finally, some updates under the QA/QC and Closeout tabs. As I already mentioned, we will have time set aside at the end of the presentation to review any unanswered questions and address the questions that come about during that time. First up is going to be in the Word Templates module at the district level in the District Library menu. But this update will also impact contract change requests. So if the district default PNM or POM template needs to be updated for the entire district, then that can be performed by a district administrator within the Word template edit view for the specified template. A radio button selection is now available at the bottom of the view, labeled "Is this a PNM or POM you would like to make the district default?" And upon making that selection, 2 more radio buttons will appear beneath that to select whether it is the PNM or POM template for the district. When users in the district select to add a PNM or POM document in the Change Request Package tab of a contract change request, whichever template is deemed as the district default for either the PNM or POM will be used to generate that document within change requests. Please keep in mind that these district default templates will only work and be auto-generated within the newer style of change requests. And by that, I mean changes that have the Change Request Package tab instead of the old Supporting Documents tab. If you have an older change request that's still pending with that Supporting Documents tab, then you will either need to manually add the appropriate PNM or POM document to that older change request, or you can recreate the change request in the newer format so that the district default PNM and or POM can be added automatically upon making either selection. Moving on to summary reports. The Consolidated Command Guidance, or the CCG, metrics report has been restored in the current RMS3 application. This report is used to gather certain metrics for the district and contracts within the district, such as cost and time growth and other timeline information, program coverage and compliance goals, etc. The parameters for this report will include the fiscal year start and end dates to only view the information from a certain fiscal timeline, and then also a fund type radio button selection. You can select to to view one of these fund types or select to view all the fund types. Next, we'll start looking at the administration updates, starting with the contract description module. A field was added here for the customer project number. Some updates were made to the CPAR evaluations module under the Closeout tab that needed this field to be included here. And so I will be reviewing more on that later in today's presentation. So next up, this update is listed as impacting the contract file module, but this is really in relation to any batch exports from RMS. If you export more than one file with the same file name, only one number will be added to the end of each file name, as shown in the top right image for the updated functionality. Previously, RMS was numbering the files as shown in this bottom image, so that has been updated now. Moving on, for contract notifications, a new notification has been added to the contract notification control module to notify the government whenever an AHA has been received from the contractor. So if a government user would like to be notified of this, then the in-app and/or email notification can be enabled here in this module. All right, moving on from administration onto finances, we'll begin in the progress payment module. So in the progress payment document packages, when a user would go to sign the documents, the document signing wizard was showing all the files in the document package, whether those files could be signed or not. Now only the documents that are signable, i.e. the Word documents and or PDF files, will display in that document signing wizard. Only Word documents and PDF files can be signed within RMS. Next up, still in progress payments, but in contractor mode, a scroll bar was added here to allow proper viewing of progress payment information on smaller monitors. And by smaller monitors, I mean 15 inches or smaller. Previously, users on monitors of this size could not see the information in some of the tabs in progress payments, and there was no way to scroll down or expand the area, so this update should correct those issues. Moving on from progress payments, we'll now take a look at the contractor claims/disputes module. A new little section has been added to the supporting documents tab in the contractor claim/dispute edit view so that correspondence can now be linked to the claim or dispute. To do so, you can click on the Add button in that correspondence data grid, and that will bring up the correspondence entry lookup where you can make a selection on which correspondence to link to the claim or dispute. Once a selection is made, another pop-up will appear to ask if you'd like to copy the documents and attachments included in that selected correspondence. Clicking on Yes will bring up another selection window that will allow you to select the documents and/or attachments you'd like to copy from the correspondence. The Copy Documents button available in the correspondence data grid will also perform the same operation just independently of the correspondence selection and only after a correspondence has been linked already. Next, we have an update to contract changes, specifically for foreign currency contracts. On BCD items, the foreign currency symbol will now correctly show on values displayed within the report. The appropriate symbol, whichever symbol that may be, will now precede the values as shown here on the slide in the BCD items. Next, in contract modifications, some field information that seemed to be missing from the exported file of the SF30 information preview has been added into that exported file. So now all the information entered for the SF30 and shown in that preview, which is presented when you click on the SF30 button in a modification, all that information should be showing in full in the exported report of that view as well. Next, this update is also in relation to contracts that use foreign currency. On the contractor claims report, it was noted that the US dollar amounts were not being converted from the foreign currency amount. The US dollar amount shown in the report was previously replicating the foreign currency amount instead of converting it. All reports must be reported using US dollar amounts. So now the US dollar amount that shows in the report will have been correctly converted from the foreign currency amount using whichever applicable exchange rate. Okay, now moving into the QA/QC updates, we have an update that impacts QC daily reports. Shared document packages can now be added to QA deficiencies by contractors in contractor mode within a QC daily report. Even though these deficiencies are initially added by the government, contractors can now also add and/or update document packages in this area. Please keep in mind that contractors will be able to make updates to any open document packages here. So if the government would like to keep that from happening or just keep things separate, then the document package that needs to be locked down needs to be completed in order to lock it down for further edits and updates. If a contractor makes an unnecessary or unwanted update, then that update will be shown in the deficiency history table at the bottom. So all of that will still be tracked either way. Next up is technically an update in relation to the activity hazard analysis module. However, this update also returns the document package status column back to the document package views in RMS. So that column will now continue to be visible for both government and shared document packages. And now on top of that, once an AHA has been submitted to the government, contractors will not be able to add or edit document packages in the AHA that was submitted. If they need to add more documentation or edit the existing files within the document package for that AHA, then they'll need to request that the government return the AHA so that the document package updates can be made. All right, moving into the Closeout tab updates. We have some updates to the CPAR evaluation edit views in that corresponding module under the Closeout tab. These views have been updated so that certain fields can be pulled from other areas in RMS as those values already exist elsewhere. So when a CPAR evaluation is created, those values can just be pulled straight from the source instead of needing to be manually entered again. So first up here is the updated contractor information tab, formerly the contractor name/address tab. The only difference on this tab will be the NAICS code field. That is now read-only, and it will be pulled from the prime contractor module. And the company name field will be pulled from the contract description module. Next is going to be the contract information tab. There are several differences in this updated view. So the program type field is no longer open for manual editing. Instead, this value will be pulled from where it was selected either in the contract funding tab within the contract finances module or from the future contract information. The contract/delivery order number and the contract office field values will be pulled from the contract description module. The contracting officer name and work phone fields will be based on the selection made using this Select Contracting Officer button, which is going to pull from the Contract Personnel module. The percent complete field can now be manually edited. However, upon adding a CPAR evaluation, the default value that should show here is going to come from the contract status module, specifically the monthly progress tab, based on the last reported values. The contract completed default value will pull from the contract physical completion actual milestone date in the milestone schedule module. The current contract field value will pull from the contract finances module. The modifications field value will come from the contract status module. And finally, the LDs field is now open for editing, and the work complexity code is now a drop-down selection with the options of low, medium, and high, instead of that being a text box. Next, the updated view for the miscellaneous information tab. The customer project number that I previously reviewed was added to the contract description module. We'll pull from that value entered in the contract description module. The contract long title will replicate the same contract long title field from the contract description module. The contract description default value will be filled in here from the contract description field within the, you guessed it, contract description module, but it is now open for manual editing in this view as well. And then those subcontractor fields are still open for manually editing as it was before. Next, in the Small Business Utilization tab, the contract requires a small business plan field is now read-only, and that value will come from the corresponding checkbox field in the contract description module. So whichever selection is made in that module will be replicated here as well. There was no update to the Ratings tab. This view will remain as it is currently. And finally, in the Assessor tab, the field names were updated, and instead of these being text boxes, there are now buttons that will allow you to select a user from the staff member lookup and fill in these fields that way. The work email fields will correspond to the email address entered in the selected user's staff record. Okay, moving on to warranty tracking. This is our final update to cover. The warranty title was being included in the inspection identifiers here next to the document package sections. And if the title was long enough, as shown in that bottom image, they were getting cut off due to the limited space there. Since the title is already shown at the top of the screen, those have been removed from those identifiers by the document package views, so that information will no longer display as being cut off. Okay, and that concludes our presentation portion of the training today. Here we have a couple of links to videos for you to visit or revisit. And we've also got the RMS website link, the RMS YouTube channel link, the link to our JIRA service desk so you can submit a ticket if you'd like to, our RMS Support Center call number, and then a link to the KM portal. So now we'll open up the floor for discussion and/or any questions you all may have. Feel free to unmute and do so verbally or type your question into the Q&A. We will be able to capture it either way.
All right, most of the questions in the chat have already, or the Q&A have already been answered. There is one question about a timeline for the correction announcement schedule model. There are some updates coming up with the next release, not the one that's going out Monday, but the following one that will change placement a little bit. If you have any other questions about placement schedule module, please put in a ticket so that way we can give you more information. Let's see here. Another question in Closeout CPAR module. Does clicking the export CPAR button actually submit this eval? No, we have no connection to CPAR at this time. That is simply just an export button for you to take and copy the information into CPARs. Our field office is using the warranty module. You'll have to check with your district's policy whether or not your field office is using the warranty module. I do want to point out that someone did have a question earlier about needing to reinstall RMS with this release. The answer is no. You will not need to reinstall RMS with this release, as this does not release any new launchers. The only time that you might, and I say might, have to do that is if it's a new launcher release. And the reason say might is it's just because of how it's installed on your computer. If you have any problems getting the latest patches or anything else with RMS, please feel free to submit a ticket to us, give us a call, however works out for you, and we'll be more than happy to help you out with that one. See, I'm curious what drives the changes made to RMS in these patches. So changes are made based off of the RSG team, what they go through. They look at all of the tickets that get put in to see what changes users are asking for, how it's applicable to all users and all districts within RMS, and whether or not it's warranted to be changed. If it's warranted to be changed, then it gets sent over to us and we make those changes and push them out in a patch. Other reasons is if there are bugs found in the system, then we will get those pushed out in patches as well. Hopefully that answers your question. And there are still some items coming from RSG, so I'm not entirely sure why your RSG member said what they said. You can always put in a ticket with us and we could probably look into it, but we do not have access to, well, we do have access. We do not have direct access to the RSG. I think I kind of heard someone trying to talk.
I got a quick question.
Go for it.
When people try to upload labor interview forms, are they still required to have the CUI cover page? And if so, who's supposed to fill out the responsibility of information that's asked on the cover sheet?
So my understanding for CUI is the only time you need that cover page is if you are printing or disseminating that document. If you're posting it up into RMS, it's not needed. However, if it's going to be printed or disseminated, then it is needed. As for who fills out that information, you'll have to check with your district because we are not sure who that would be. Does that answer your question?
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Let's see here.
I have a quick question.
Yes, please.
When it comes to uploading POMs and PNMs in the contract changes module now, at least the current status is it just generates a Word document that has to be edited in RMS. Is there an intent to change it where you can upload a signed PDF version and it be labeled properly in the contract changes, or will it always drop into the, I believe it's the BCD folder that is generated? Over.
So you can go ahead and upload that file now in the document package with the appropriate naming schema. If it's not going in the location and contract file that you think it should be going into, please submit a support ticket so we can look into that further and get more details, okay?
Roger, thank you.
Someone's asking about the scheduled update and when is that going to be? We have a tentative date at this time, but we have no definite date as testing still has to be done. That date is tentatively for sometime in mid-April. All right, are there any other questions? We'll go ahead and hang out on the line for a few more minutes just to allow other people to think of other questions, post questions, or unmute yourself and ask other questions. Otherwise, for those of you that have other things to do, thank you so much for joining us. We'll still be here for a few more minutes.
I don't see a field on the pay estimate for the Form 93 anymore for liquidated damages. If you're trying to assess liquidated damages, and so we found that people would withhold deductions or retainage, but when it went to CFUMS, it didn't fill in that liquidated damage part of the CFUMS form. And so we've got a contract where, you know, the intent was to withhold liquidated damages, but it didn't go into CFUMS as liquidated damages.
Liquidated damages has to be pulled in from retainage. It's not a feature that can be automatically sent over to CFUMS. It has to be approved. So CFUMS will not allow us to do that.
Okay. Okay. That's a good explanation.
Yeah.
All right. So when they go into when they go into CFUMS to approve the payment, they have to make that adjustment there.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So I see another question in here. Is there going to be an update to allow us to show that a contract was terminated? As far as I know, I haven't heard anything about this. You might want to talk with your RSG to see where that's at, or if you are a member of RSG, check your guys' channel to see what's going on with that one, because I believe you have access to that. But as far as I know, I haven't heard anything about that. That can be shown as part of those contract status codes. So you can put in a ticket one of three ways. You can either do it by giving us a call at 442-333-1011 and we'll put in a ticket for you, or you can submit a ticket by going to our JIRA service desk link. That link, you can actually just pull up the slides. The slides are on the website. So if you go to rms.usace.army.mil, you'll be able to see the slides on the main page and you can pull this up and link it there. Or on that same main page, you'll also have a link for it at that point. If you're already in the JIRA system, you can email. If you're not in the JIRA system, you'll need to call or use the JIRA service desk. Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you for that ticket number. We'll go ahead and look into that and get back to you.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we're going to go ahead and close this out. You can find these slides on the RMS website, as we mentioned previously, and keep an eye out for this video to be posted on our YouTube channel in about 5 business days. Thanks everybody for joining. Have a great rest of your day.